Welcome to the Perspectives with Catherine Toon podcast.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Perspectives with Catherine Toon on the Grace Awakening Network and other channels. And I am, oh my goodness, we've been having such a fun time. We might want to record. Welcome, Robin Smit. It's so great to have you on again.
Oh, thank you. I'm always happy to come on here. You're so fun. I love chatting with you.
Yeah. And, and we have such a heart for so many of the same things. And we were talking about all the different projects you're doing and your family and brand new grandbaby and just amazing things that are going on. And I know you just came out with the Writers Society, just came out with yet another. You guys are like boom, boom, boom. It's breathtaking to see what's going on. Tell us about this new work that's come out.
Yeah. Gosh, we are coming out with books pretty fast. We do 2 to 3 books, I think, a month. We have 43 authors now, including you, 43 authors. And so that's fun. The new book is a poetry book. So, we have Legacy Society, and that is by invitation only. And it's John Land, Malcolm Smith, Francois and Lydia Dutoy. And what we do is we do their books for free.
That's so great.
The legacy, right? I mean, they have spent their lives preaching this good news. So we do those for free. I started by taking donations, but those don't always go over so well. So they're hard to do. You got to really stay on it. And so I'm not one to do that. And I don't like asking for money. And so I've been covering it myself. And then we do the Free To series. We did Free to Give, Free to Gather, to raise money for that. And those are some beautiful authors that have been part of that, yourself included. And so we're doing 4 this year. And the first one we did is Resurrection Life. And that one is all poetry. Gosh, that was so fun to do. So many moving parts, though, because poets are different than writers. It's just an entirely different breed of people. And it's, I don't want to say a different mindset, but, where writers are really, here's what I need, Catherine, and you send it to me. Poets are like, maybe I want to change this line. Maybe I want to change that line. And so it was
flowy.
Yeah, a little flowy. So it was a lot of moving parts, 31 poets, including myself. I even put my hand.
I know. I saw that. I said, I had no idea. We have all these hidden talents.
I loved it. It was so fun. And then Matt Pandel even put his hand to it this time.
I love it.
So we 31 poets, and then we decided to put art in. So we have 7 artists who submitted their work, and we have it scattered throughout the book. Unfortunately, we had to do black and white because print is too expensive with color.
I'm familiar.
So we had to cut that back, though the Kindle is in color. But
fun. Yeah,
it was fun. The poetry is beautiful. It's very different. There's some that are rhymey. I'm not a real poet, so I don't know the words exactly, but it's rhymey. And there are others like me who are just bold declarers, and you just, get it out that way. And Wesley Tarpley, who is like, 5 pages of one poem. I mean, how do you even, that's like a chapter, but he does it, and he does it great. I know. And so it's a really beautiful piece of work on all of our different expressions of what resurrection life means to us. And I'm really proud of it. I'm super excited about that project.
Isn't that? And it's so fun because it's really different from what you've done before. It's so creative and beautiful. I haven't actually had a chance to get it, so I'm really looking forward to it now, even more. And now, was this your first hand at poetry for you?
For me personally, yes. And I just did it my own style. I mean, if you're going to be a poet critic, you're probably going to look at it and say, yeah, you broke a ton of rules there. Probably, but it's just me. But we've done one poetry book
Oh, I
TWS
didn't know
has.
that. Okay.
Jeff Creary called The Unveiling, and that's really good. So we decided just to branch out, and like next year we're going to do worship and get some song lyrics in there and some maybe
Wow.
different chapters on what worship is from a grace perspective. And so I love empowering these young writers, not young in age, but new writers,
Right.
maybe that aren't published yet, that this is their first experience, and getting their voices out into the world. I love doing that. It's one of my favorite things to do with TWS are these co-authored projects.
And I mean, and we've done, you've done quite a few. I know you've got some more co-authored projects coming up, and I've already signed up. So, now I would have tried the poetry, and if I were as bold as you, maybe I'll just dive. I'll just do it. I remember the last. I thought about it, and I thought the last poem. I actually got it like semi-published in like this sort of periodical, but I was in second grade. Second grade poet, and I still remember it. I was very proud of it. But it's been a little bit, my brain hasn't worked that way, but this is good. Our brains get to stretch.
Oh, come on. If Matt Handel, who is a major academic, can do it, we can do it, Catherine.
Thank you, Matt. You're just blasting the way. That's brilliant. I love it. I should have just done it. But anyway, that's great. But I felt like, you kind of think, I know there's some people that are truly gifted. I mean, I saw Lisa was on there, and I haven't read, I mean, she's such a great writer anyway. But, I just figured she's going to be an incredible poet, so we should never count ourselves out. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And there are some who are, that's their lane is poetry, and they are really beautiful. And we have a lot of families in there, like Therese Reese. Her son Jeremy is in there. His wife Shanda Miller.
Oh yeah, Shanda.
She has a poem. Her son Eric has a poem. Her daughter-in-law Megan has a poem, and her other son Alec has an art piece in. So
wow,
I mean, it's just beautiful. And then you're doing the co-authored book, Finding Your Voice.
Yes,
that's written by all women, but not. Written for all women. It's not a women's topic, but it's you're one of the women in that, so I'm excited.
I am. I think I've already started that. You kind of asked a while, so I started working on that. I'll have to pick that up and look at that. When is that supposed to be coming out?
That will be coming out this summer, like August.
Okay, great. Well, I should probably pick that up and get that to you.
I have to find up too. So yeah, I have a chapter, so I have to work on it.
Right. Oh, that's so much fun. Tell me, Robin, how did TWS become a thing? Because you've been off and rolling, like 2 books. You said 2 books a month. Is that what you said?
We're running 2 to 3 this month. We're doing 4.
I saw the 4. I was like, wow,
crazy. TWS just took off. It exceeded all of my expectations, if I had any. I'm not sure I had any. What happened was Don Keithley, I'll tell you what, if you need a business idea or you need some direction in life, go talk to Don. Don's directions are spot on every single time. So Don came, he was looking for in his Facebook group, he was looking for somebody to, I guess I'm not outing anybody, but he was looking for somebody to republish his books. Because the person who had done them, because he does sermons only, Don's not a writer. Right. And so we ghostwrite his. Not a secret. So he was looking for somebody because the woman had changed her theology.
Oh.
And took his books off.
That happened to me too, by the way. Sorry, different story. Keep going.
So funny. Took his books off Amazon. And so I said, well, I've published 3 of mine. I can do yours. I can just put them back on there. And so I did. And then he's like, hey, and then I told him, but as I was going through it, you probably really need a good editing job. Right. And he's like, hey, you want to do some of my others? You want to put some of my other sermons on there, turn them into books? And I said, well, I've never done it, but I can try. And then Tommy Miller came to me the same week and he said, I'm not a writer, but do you want to turn my messages into books? And I said, okay, I can try. And so I did. And then the next thing I know, about a few weeks later, I hear the Lord saying, can you put your own books aside and can you empower my writers and do this? And so I did. And then Don Keathley came to me and he said, I kind of see this as like Destiny Image, where the guy heard from the Lord and he started in his own house. In fact, I read his thing, when he would have business calls, his kids would be silent in the same living room so that he could handle a business call. But that's how he started. And so I did that. I only had 2 authors, Tommy and Dawn. And I just, by faith, stepped out in this. And the next thing I know, I convinced Malcolm Smith to do it and Steve McVeigh. And once I got Steve McVeigh and Malcolm, it was just word of mouth and it took off. And like I said, we have 43 authors. I think we've done 78 books in 2.5 years.
Wow.
And I told my husband, I think I was born to do this. I just love it.
Empowering these voices, which are incredible. Now, I have to say, I'm a little amused because that actually happened to me too. Actually, with the last book that I published with you, my editor, she had a problem with some of the theology. This was not quite there, and so but she did a really good job editing. And so I asked her. I said, "Well, is it okay? Do you want me to just take your name off? Would that just make you feel better?" Which I did, which is fine, but it happens, right? And so, but I'm sure glad that I mean, boy, work after work after work. And then are you also working with the Grace Awakening Network as well? Like I see you in that.
You're one of the co-founders of that. Yeah. So Don, again, I'm telling you,
he's such an instigator.
Go to Don. He is an instigator. Don called me up one day and my husband and I had been talking. My husband's like, we need to get on TV. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want on TV. And he's like, we need to do it. And so Don called me one day and he said, here's what I've been looking into. What do you think? And I said, well, we've been talking about it. And he said, well, have Steve, my Steve, look into it. And we looked into it and we said, you know what, we're in. And so Steve and I and Dawn and Lane, we started it and I love it. It's taking off. Gosh, it's doing so well. And again, it's getting that message out there and into all these homes. And man, you never know who's listening. I have one editor I use because she's a really good editor and I don't know what her theology is. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if she has one. Right. But she loves the books that I send her way. And when I send her a kid's book and she's like, oh man, that was so powerful. And I don't even know if she has, gosh, how do you phrase it these days? Not that she doesn't have a relationship with Jesus, but I don't even know that she's aware of it. Yeah. And she's reading these books and it's ministering to her heart. And
that's so beautiful.
And Gan's going out there into these homes and, it's just beautiful.
What an explosion of, and then, and you went to the Global Grace Seminary and you completed your doctorate there, right? So
I did my bachelor's, 2 masters, one in theology and one in biblical studies, and then my doctorate there. And I'm on the board. That's how much I love Global Grace.
Of course you are.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I am so passionate about Global Grace. It's just, if you're going to go anywhere to get an education, that would be the place to go. And if you don't care about the education, everything I learned was Global Grace.
Yeah. Well, and you can audit courses, right? Too. I mean, it's very affordable.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, a lot of irons and a lot of fires, and you're on fire with every single one, which is so beautiful. So much fun to hear you talk about. It's like, yes, sign me up.
We should be though, right? I mean, we should be on fire, and I don't. Dawn's quick to tell me, be careful not to burn out. I don't feel that anytime soon. I'm passionate about everything. As long as I stay in my lane, empowering people.
Yeah. And that's beautiful. That's such a Jesus concept, that we don't have to be the superstars, so to speak, but we can empower and let other people's voices come in whatever, on TV, on in book form. And I mean, that's just so beautiful. And it's so needed. It's really the end of the big superstar thing, and these voices are so powerful. And I now when you're getting these ideas, as these are things that are just popping into your head, oh, let's do an all women, this thing, or let's do poetry. Or I mean, how is God leading you, or is this just you just having a fun, creative time?
I was thinking about it when you were saying it. I think it just pops into my head. And so it popped into my head to do, what if we do an all women's co-authored book? Nobody has one. In fact, there aren't any publishers doing co-authored books or hybrid publishers doing co-authored books. They'll do like author and ghostwriter, but not where they bring all these voices together. And so I just keep asking the Father, well, what do you want to do? And the women's book, I put it out on our group page, and oh my gosh, I got a ton of responses on what it should be. But I didn't really want it to be just for women. I wanted it to be written by women, because we have, I think, a unique perspective.
Yes,
but not just for women. And so Matt Pandle actually,
of course,
said, I know. He's like, this seems to be a really hot topic. Why don't you do this? And women are uniquely positioned for that, because we've had a hard time finding our own voice. So,
and that is so true. It's so beautiful. It's having a voice, finding your own voice, and I think that's beautiful, because we've had to battle in a lot of ways, maybe more than our male colleagues and things. And so,
MacArthur, who tells Beth Moore to get off the stage. I know. Right.
No, I mean, it's really true, and that was one of the reasons why I wrote my God, Male and Female book before I connected with you, but is just because of that very issue. But what's interesting, and one of the things that I found, is that the guys need this just as much as the women need this.
Agreed.
If we're going to be tracking with one another, we need to champion one another, and that's the win-win scenario.
Absolutely.
Versus the win-lose scenario. So I love that. And it's kind of funny, because having a medical background, I saw just as many men as I did women. So it was really weird to me when I was called into ministry that it was so one-sided that way. And then you kind of like, well, let's push the women on this side and with the women, and the men with the men. I'm like, no, we need each other. So that was always a big surprise, to me. And so it's just beautiful to see that there's more and more receptivity with that. And it's just, I think it's just so life-giving. Absolutely. Now go ahead.
Sorry. It was Paul Golf who actually suggested, don't make it about women's topics.
Yeah.
Keep it women authored, but really broaden the range. So
yeah. No, that's beautiful. And isn't it beautiful that these are the men that are coming up with this sort of really enlightened perspective?
And the one who's doing the forward and the introduction are both girl dads. I thought that was a nice balance. It's Derek Turner and Bill Wynn. And so both have just daughters. So I thought that would be a nice balance.
Oh, wow. And that's beautiful. And that changes your perspective a lot, because you're championing your daughters, and that's beautiful. Wow. Well, that's going to be an amazing project. So I'm motivated to get back to my chapter. So we'll be getting that back to you. Now, you are currently personally working on a project, not sure when it's going to come out. So we're not, but you obviously you have a topic that's, on your heart. Tell us a little bit about that. And you showed me, and I'm going to show the cover just because it's beautiful. If you don't mind, do you want me to do that? Yeah.
Beto did it. It's really a stunning cover. And in fact, I started it last year. Just finding the time to write is really challenging these days. But I got with Christian and I said, I need a cover for a book on the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so he came up with this, and I thought, gosh, that is just really, really, I mean, I designed most of the covers for TWS, but this was beyond beautiful and beyond what my skill set can do. So I wanted to write a book on the gospel, but I really wanted to write it on the very good news that God, he says at the very beginning, he takes a look at everything he has made, and it is very good, and so I wanted that to run all the way through. I wanted the good news to not just be a New Testament idea, because sometimes we get the idea that the gospel is a New Testament idea, and it's really not. It's eternal. It's just always been God's very good news. And so in it, I talk about what the good news is, based in the Hebrew, and I go into different subjects. Again, I'm still working on it,
Sure.
but I want to touch on topics that even in grace circles that we sometimes say, yeah, I don't know that that's the very good news, And so I wanted it to be as scandalous as Paul made it out to be, And so I want to talk about healing. I want to talk about prosperity, which is a big no-no, sometimes even in grace circles.
Yeah.
I want to talk about just wholeness in general, and wholeness in sozo in every area of our life, physical, mental, financial. We need finances, right? I mean, that's a good
goodness.
news, right?
Yeah.
Relationships, I wanted to cover every area of our life. I want to talk about Mephibosheth and how, he turned away from that, and so there are things, there's the objective and the subjective good news, and so it's a matter of not turning away from it. It's a matter of saying yes, or to quote Baxter, siding with Jesus,
Yes. Yes.
I want to talk about the 2.5 tribes, who didn't want to go into the promised land. And so again, I'm only a third of the way finished.
Sure.
My writers group, they laugh at me for ordering a book cover like a year in advance, but it keeps me focused. It keeps me wanting to get this out. So,
well, and I mean, it's beautiful, and it's also just a visual inspiration, and I mean, it really helps. And I'm hoping that maybe even talking about it a little bit will help inspire you a little bit with everything else to get your perspective out as well. Now, Robin, where did you tell us a little bit about your journey for people who may not have known, like where you came from, how you sort of came into this camp or whatever, the circle. Tell us a little bit about that, because people may not know that.
Well, I come out of, okay, forgive me if I use language that we aren't using anymore, but sometimes you just don't know how to explain things anymore.
Right. Absolutely.
So I got saved at 25, although I like what Steve McVeigh says. Salvation is not a one-time experience, it's eternal, but then we awaken to it. So I awakened to it at 25. And before that, I mean, I went to church occasionally with cousins and didn't really like it. Mostly because it's kind of a silly reason, but mostly because you weren't allowed to wear pants in church. And that to me seemed kind of an odd thing. I mean, I wanted to wear my shorts or my jeans. It was the 70s, and so because they couldn't explain it to me, I'm like, yeah, I want nothing to do with this. So it was 25 before I actually went to church, and we ended up in a Word of Faith church, Kenneth Hagin Rhema church, which was I appreciate that. It settled me on a lot of things. It taught me things like homologeo that I know now, and confession, and it taught me a lot of good things, and I am where I am because of some of the things I've been raised up in. So, well, first we went to an Assemblies of God church, learned about the power of God, and calling down fire and all those things, and then a Word of Faith, and but I still felt like I was missing something. And so we raised all of our children in that, and we did a good job. Our kids are amazing. And then maybe, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago, maybe 9 years ago, I felt like there was something missing. I've done everything. Lord, I've dotted every I, I've crossed every T. We were in church every time the doors were open. We took our kids in their pajamas because we'd go home late at night. I mean, we've done everything, that we needed to do and we were taught to do. and there was still something on the inside that just wasn't clicking.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of mine who thinks I've gone way too far now, but a friend of mine gave me a Steve McVey book.
Oh,
And I had never heard of him.
right.
Sorry, Steve, but I'd never heard of him. And so I read it. And it wasn't even a serious Steve McVey. It wasn't like Beyond an Angry God or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like his devotional.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. Got introduced to Andrew Womack's
Oh, right.
ministry,
Yeah.
Joseph Prince, and those were a little different than Word of Faith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm coming along a little farther, still something not clicking. And I don't know how I came across the Mirror Bible. It could have been because I joined Steve McVeigh's chat room,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I was terrified of slipping into universalism.
Yes. Yes.
So afraid to read that book. So I was reading his Bible, and I would hold it in one hand and check my Bible in the other, because it's like,
Right.
seriously, that's not in the Bible. And I would compare them.
Mhm.
And then I came across Baxter's book, not even Jesus and the Undoing of Adam. God knows what we need at the time,
Boy,
know.
he does.
That would have completely undone me. I
Right.
came across, I think, The Great Dance,
Yep.
and I was intrigued. And then Steve McVey, of all people, is in his chat room, and he says, and I had considered maybe I need to go back to school.
Mhm.
And he starts talking about GGS, because he was
Right.
one of the, he was like vice president or something of that. And
Right.
he said, you know what, if you'll go to the registrar and tell them you're in my chat room, they'll give you 50% off. Well, I was already really busy with 4 kids. We
Right.
had our own business, we farm, so we have a business.
Yeah.
But I decided, okay, I'll try it. And so I did. And I was just, after that,
Wow.
do you know why I didn't almost join? I mean, this is crazy. John Crowder was one of the professors at
Right.
GS.
Right.
And being from California, I had heard about John Crowder's meetings, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not joining any school that has John Crowder. He's one of my favorite.
We love you, John. Yeah, go ahead.
One of my favorite professors, because he's such an amazing teacher.
He is. Yeah.
He is. And so I joined GGS, and after that, that message of it is finished just got bigger and bigger and bigger, to where Cecil Cochran said, can you, I think you should write a book. I think you should write a book. And I'm like, I don't want to write a book. I don't even know how. And he said, can you write me an article? And so I sat down, and within the week I had 20,000 words, and I knew I had a book, and it is finished. So
That is so beautiful. I seriously, I am flabbergasted, because our stories are very similar. Like, I got saved or awake at 27, started out in the Word of Faith, went to the Assemblies of God. Anyway, so we just have a very similar journey, which is amazing. And isn't it beautiful how the Lord really places before us what we're needing.
Yeah.
I think this is one thing, with people in their journey, that we can really rest, because God is so masterful in leading and guiding people. We don't need to wring our hands, and I love you were talking about your editor, not quite sure where she stands, but she's so drawn, and God's working in her, and all of these things. And it's just so beautiful. Whereas before, we'd probably be like, well, I need to meet these criteria, and, whatever. And this is why it's such an inclusive gospel is such a boon, because we can really, pull on what God is already at work in them, even if in a hidden way that we don't, they're not tracking with, or we're not tracking with yet, but it's ongoing. And that just gives us such confidence.
Oh, 100%, and I know there's a lot of talk about deconstructing right now. And I didn't really deconstruct. As I learned the good news, it just kind of pushed out the rest, it's like
It's displaced it. That's brilliant.
We have this tree at the farm, and this tree, I swear, will hang on to its dead leaves for way longer than I like. And I want to go out there with the loppers and just chop it off. And my husband, who's the farmer, says, just wait, in another month, that new life is going to push off those dead leaves. And sure enough, that new life on the inside just pushes off those dead leaves. And
Wow.
then it's gorgeous, And I
What
think
a picture.
I know, I see it all the time. And I think we strive too hard to get rid of things. And I think I don't blame the Word of Faith or Assemblies of God or Western Evangelical or whatever you want to call it for what it did. It taught me what it knew.
Absolutely. I'm grateful, right?
I'm grateful. And it wasn't intentionally malicious,
Yeah.
I taught bad things for a long time before I did.
Well, all of us. And then now, we're teaching and we're like, oh, okay, what am I going to be needing to kind of back up and, in 5 years from now, because we're all growing. And, that's the graciousness of God that we can, and what God moves through with the theology is not great, but he's still moving because he just loves his kids. Right. And he was right.
I had a friend who told me, yeah, but don't go back and change your books because where you were at is where I'm at right now. And I need to know that. And then, I just grow with you. And so that's beautiful, right?
That is, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that's so beautiful. I love that picture. That is so poetic. Someone needs to paint that. Someone needs to poetryize that because it's such it's such a power. I mean, like I'm like I'm inspired by that what nature is preaching.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, isn't that beautiful?
All of creation. Artists, if you're hearing us, paint a picture, send it to me and Catherine. We want it.
Yes, absolutely. We'll have to include. You've got your email right there, so that's really handy.
Oh, yeah, that's my personal email, but feel free to use it. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So, what other projects are coming down the pike for this year?
For this year, I've still got quite a few authors' books. Matt Pandell has one coming out. I'm sure Don Keithley will do another one.
Right.
Malcolm Smith is working on one right now.
That's great.
I still have, we have another Free 2 series coming out, Free to be Free.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. And that one's kind of, oh gosh, there's some beautiful authors in that one. And it's about what was your turning point? What was that freedom moment for you? And so that'll be
I think I signed up for that one too. I think I signed up for a couple. have to look at my notes. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
I love it. And so we have some really good ones signed up for that. And what else is coming? I wanted to, right before Christmas, Les Mis, I started looking at some public domain books and republishing the classics with a lot of grace-based commentary, whether it be poetry that's added or art. There's so many different medias, right? Or some chapter reflections, some theological essays. And I really want to do that. Matt Pandell's offered to do the introduction to that. So what it looks like, I'm not sure yet, but I'm hoping to get that done. Next year is A Christmas Carol. I signed you up. I really want to do that. So I really want to branch out just beyond just authors coming and bring me their books and I turn this around. I want to do these co-authored books where we bring many voices together because I think there's something powerful in many voices. I think in these poetry books, next year I want to do a worship book. So I think in these kind of books that maybe if you're not going to read a theological book,
treatise, yes,
maybe you'll find something in these poems, that'll speak to your heart. So I'm really excited about those. I don't even know. I do want to start a community like on Circle where we get more involved, like Facebook. Sometimes Facebook kind of monitors you too much.
Right.
But like Matt does Mighty Networks. I'd like to do it on Circle and really get a writing community together. And I want to do retreats. And so I want to do a lot of face-to-face because I think we need that. COVID really did away with that. And
Right. It really did. And boy, I tell you, we are lacking. I mean, and we're grateful for the technology. I'm grateful that I can talk to you, but we just talked about, we're going to be meeting at the conference. There's nothing like face to face. That's heavenly. It's heavenly because this is where, we get to really spend some time with one another, and so restoration. And I do think it's beautiful too, because when we think of, say, like a GAN or a GGS and the different things that are coming out with that. And these are ways that people can, gather all around the world and make it accessible to anyone. But we also need that in-person time. And what's so beautiful is we get everything.
Yeah.
I mean, God loves us so much. We get everything. We get the online, and which is brilliant. Whatever we get opportunities with the face to face. So I love this idea of doing retreats and things. I'm actually planning some myself. So the Lord, I'm having discussions, high level Jesus discussions with that as well, because we need face to face as well as the online. Yeah. That's beautiful.
We're doing, we're not leaving the kids out of this. We're doing children's books too. We have our first children's author, like a kid author, not a children's author. He's 13. I don't even know if you can call him a kid anymore, but he's 13. Eli Waters, Brooke Waters' son. Yeah, he's so cute. I love Eli. He's coming out with a series of children's books called It's called the series. Unbroken, Unafraid. Pick a verb.
I need the series. This is so good.
I know, and it's so powerful. So he's doing those, and oh gosh, Catherine, we're doing workshops, and I am really excited. I'm excited about just. I told the Lord, I'll go as big and deep and wide as you want to go with this. As long as you send me people to help, and as long as you keep, infusing me with passion and strength, I'll go as far as you want to go. So,
wow, I bet God is like so excited. Like, I found one. Let's do it. Let's run. That's brilliant. That is so beautiful. And and you can just feel the wind on all of these projects, what can God do with, when someone is just really this laid down and excited and easily movable. I was telling you when we were talking, I'm kind of in this pruning season, a little bit of limbo. Things are kind of changing and what he's having me focus on and things. And the great thing about that is that you're easily movable. You're not tethered down to how it's always been, and how it was is great and all of that. And we celebrate and we bring things in with us, but kind of in the next seasons with what he's doing, he's able to move us because we're married to him, not any one thing. And so all of these projects can come together so beautifully. Yeah. Wow. That is great. Now, and we're just, we're also, I don't know if you're free to talk at all about maybe the new things with GAN. I don't know if you're free to share with that, but if you are, you can. And if not, we can move past that.
I don't know. You kind of caught me off guard with that one.
I'm sorry.
No. We didn't have a meeting this week. And so I'm like, shoot.
Okay. Well, you can just say we have a preview of coming attraction. We have new things coming out and we're expanding.
We have really great things coming up. We are on, Lane's the one you want to interview because Lane is the one who knows stuff. But we're on Apple TV. We're on Amazon Fire. We're on Roku. We're on Google TV. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
And of course, we have the website. We've talked about lots of things like eventually getting an app, and we talk about doing more community things and pulling people in to do extra things like meetings and things that people can be a part of. And gosh, it's just been. We just celebrated our first year, and I think we did really well for our first year.
Amazing, yeah.
And we've got some great names on there. We've got some great programs. We've got big names on there, but we've also got people maybe you've never heard of that have amazing programs on there. So
Yeah, it's beautiful. And it's been growing like gangbusters. And for those of you who may not know, because not we can't assume, so it's the Grace Awakening Network. And so this is a 24/7 platform of pure grace-based, no mixture, pure grace-based programs and speakers. And you can connect with it on all those different venues. And I know people are just loving it.
and gantv.com. I mean,
Yep.
that's an easy thing
Right.
to remember.
Right.
And oh shoot, I was going to tell you something that we were doing. Articles. So if you go on gantv.com, we have articles posting continually, several a day that are coming up on there. And so we're going to have some resources on there, a resource center to direct you. You know, we've talked about that. So we're well aware of people coming in who are new to this, and we want to be able to point them in the right direction, whether it be to churches in their area, because there are, believe it or not, a lot of grace churches. I was really surprised until I got into this, and there's a lot of people doing. You've Tommy Miller in Ohio. You've got Bill Wynn in Virginia. You've got Damon Thompson, and he's got like a whole network of churches. Jamie Englehart has a whole network. You've got Corey Rice and Shannock in Indiana.
Right.
Shannock,
yeah.
Yeah. There's just so many. In California, too. We won't leave California out. We have Blazing Fire with Brett Loker. And a lot of these churches are available on GAN TV. So you can go on and check out their services and see if that's where you want to go.
Yeah, and that's so brilliant too, because I hear this a lot. You know, what's a grace-based, a church, and obviously we're all growing, and so sometimes there's a little mixture in there, and so you get to kind of work through some of that. But we're loving Jesus and following Jesus and giving one another grace, and it's beautiful. Wow. Well, that's great. So, Robin, how do you find the time, the energy for all these projects? You are running a mile a minute. It's just you're inspirational.
Google Calendar. I swear by it. Google Calendar. I literally live by Google Calendar. I put everything on there, all of my tasks, and every morning I go on Google Calendar, and that's where I stay until my day's over. But
thank God for technology, right? I mean, what a gift. Wonderful. Now, on top of that, Robin, I also know you speak, like you travel and you speak. Yes.
I do. I'll be in Indiana this week at Matt Spinks in Fort Wayne. Yeah.
Oh, great. Yes. I love him.
So if you live in the Fort Wayne area, I'd love to see you. I don't have any other speaking engagements for a little while. I'll be at Jamie's. We're doing a breakout room on publishing, but I would love to see everybody there. But yeah, we love going around and speaking, and I don't always speak on publishing. Mostly it's on the finished work, which I love. And so my husband and I usually go together, and we do it for free. So if you have a church, we don't charge you to come. I mean, it's just our way of giving back. We do extremely well in business, and so we're able to do that. And so we enjoy it. We pay our own way there, and we'd love to come minister at your church if you want somebody to come.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So, what is your business? I don't know what your business is.
Besides TWS?
Yeah, but besides TWS, GAN, GGS.
We have a farm. We have a farm in Northern California, an organic farm. We have people who do farmers markets for us in Northern California and Southern California. And it's called Mount Moriah Farms.
Wow.
And the Lord gave us that title because that was years ago. Man, you're back almost 30 years, but He gave us that title and said, Mount Moriah means the Lord's provision shall be seen in this place. And we have really seen His provision in that place. We started with nothing, and it's a really, it's a very productive business.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And, it kind of, kind of takes us full circle back to your a better gospel book that will come out whenever it comes out. It's out there. It'll be when it's supposed to be. But right with that, with this lavish grace, lavish provision, right? And just how God is providing in every way. And then you just operating in the overflow, and it's truly inspiring and beautiful.
Well, what does he say? I will prosper all that you put your hand to, And so when he has you put your hand to something, there's just prosperity there, and prosperity shouldn't be something to be afraid of. It's not jet planes and yachts, although I'm not opposed to that. I mean,
right.
If I want to buy a yacht or a private plane, I mean, I'm good with that, but it's more about excelling to the highest place possible. And that's really what prosperity is.
Yeah.
And the good thing about excelling to the highest place possible is there's no limit on that. And so that's when I think, oh man, we're doing pretty good, Steve. The business is doing well. We've got money in the bank, a couple of places that we live. There's just more, and so all we do is just stretch those tent pegs and say, you know what, Dad, I want more. I want it because we're only here in this life for a time,
Exactly.
and hey, the next one, whatever that looks like, that's going to be amazing. But, and if I'm saying it wrong, please just hear my heart. But, but I want to experience all he has for me right here, heaven on earth, right here, right now.
It's so beautiful and so accessible because that's God's heart anyway, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Well, wonderful. Where can people find you? Where can they find the books that are coming out? All gazillion of them. So feel free to share.
You can find us at thewriterssocietypublishing.com. You can also find me on robinsmit.com. If you live near Nashville, I'm only in Franklin most of the year, so you can find me here. Definitely reach out. I'd love to have coffee with you. And then Amazon. All of our books are on Amazon. I'd love to branch out more, but right now I'm swamped as it is. So Amazon it is. You can find all of them. Facebook, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, it has been a joy. I was so great to catch up and just sort of try to keep up with the whiz of things that are happening in your life. But it's
absolutely. I love it.
Wonderful. Well, everybody, make sure you share. Make sure you grab a hold of these books as they come out, and if you're following her, she'll keep you updated with the latest and the greatest of what's happening. Make sure you check out GAN TV. I'll have the information for that as well. And if you are feeling, wow, I really want to grow, check out the Global Grace Seminary as well. It's online and incredible. So lots of amazing stuff. And thank you, Robin. It's always a joy.
Oh, thank you so much. I had fun.
Yeah, me too. Wonderful. All right, everybody, share this and have a fabulous day. We love you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Perspectives with Catherine Toon. For additional information and resources, please visit catherinetoon.com.